Hey everyone, and welcome back to Dance Plane. I'm Edward.
And I'm Lily.
And we're your guides to making sense of, well, pretty much anything you throw at us.
That's right. Today we're diving deep into something we all do but rarely understand.
We're talking about sleep. Think about it. Every night, your brain basically turns into this rogue movie director churning out these bizarre, often nonsensical films you barely remember.
It's true. So today we're going to unpack the science of sleep. Why do we need it? What's actually happening in our brains during those slumber hours? And of course, we'll tackle the big mystery. What's the deal with dreams?
We've got a stack of fascinating research and articles to pull from, and we'll break it all down for you. Plus, if you head over to www.danceplane.xyz, you can find even more episodes, articles, and even some cool products to help you get the best sleep of your life.
Okay, let's get into it. Most of us think of sleep as just switching off for the night.
Yeah.
But it turns out it's way more dynamic than that.
I'm already intrigued. Tell me more.
Well, sleep isn't just one long snooze fest.
Right.
It actually involves distinct stages, each with its own unique brain activity and purpose.
You mean it's not like hitting a pause button on my brain?
Not at all. It's more like a carefully choreographed dance, cycling through 4 main stages, N1, N2, N3, and REM. And we go through these multiple times throughout the night.
Okay, I'm officially hooked. Walk me through these sleep stages.
Okay.
What's happening in my brain while I'm blissfully unaware?
All right, picture this. You're cozy in bed, eyes getting heavy, starting to drift off.
Yeah.
That hazy feeling, that's N1, the doze-off zone.
Okay.
You might experience hypnic jerks, that sudden feeling of falling.
Oh yeah, I hate those.
Right.
It's like my brain is playing a cruel trick.
Right. But your brain isn't fully asleep yet. Then comes N2, where things get really interesting. This is where your brain acts like a high-powered filing system, consolidating and storing memories from the day. Scientists have actually observed these bursts of brain activity called sleep spindles during this stage, which are thought to be involved in memory processing.
Wow, so even though I'm technically asleep, my brain is busy filing away memories.
Exactly. It's like your brain is working overtime while you rest. And then we hit M3, deep sleep. This is where things get serious. Your body is in full recovery mode, repairing muscles, boosting your immune system, releasing important hormones.
Right.
It's so deep, it's actually the hardest stage to wake someone from.
So that's why I feel so groggy if someone wakes me up in the middle of the night.
You got it. You're being pulled out of this crucial restorative phase.
Okay, we've got the doze-off zone, the memory filing stage, and the restorative power of deep sleep.
Right.
What comes next in this sleep cycle symphony?
Next is the star of the show, the one everyone's curious about. REM sleep, or rapid eye movement.
Okay.
This is where dreams really take center stage. Your brain activity ramps up again, almost to waking levels. Your eyes dart around under your eyelids, and get this, your body becomes temporarily paralyzed.
Wait, paralyzed? Why?
It's a safety mechanism. Imagine physically acting out all those bizarre dreams. So your brain wisely hits the pause button on your muscles. This is where we experience those vivid, sometimes crazy, and often downright strange dreams.
So my brain is creating these elaborate narratives, and my body is just along for the ride.
Pretty much. And while we're on the topic of dreams, let's dive into one of the biggest debates in sleep science. Why do we dream?
I'm all ears. Is it just random neural activity, or is there a deeper meaning to these nighttime stories?
That's the million-dollar question. Scientists have been wrestling with this for ages.
Yeah.
One leading theory is that dreams play a crucial role in memory consolidation.
So like my brain is replaying and organizing the day's events while I sleep.
Exactly. Think of it as your brain sifting through the day's information, deciding what to keep, what to toss, and how to connect everything together. There's even a fascinating study from Harvard that found people who dreamt about a task they had learned actually performed better at it later on.
Wow, so maybe pulling an all-nighter to cram isn't the best strategy. I should be prioritizing sleep instead.
Sleep is your secret weapon for learning and memory consolidation. But that's just one theory.
Right.
Another equally fascinating idea is that dreams help us process emotions.
Like a nightly therapy session for the mind.
Precisely. During the day, we experience a whirlwind of emotions, right?
Yeah.
Well, dreams might be our brain's way of working through these feelings, sort of like a pressure valve release. A 2019 study in the journal Nature actually found that REM sleep helps to flatten emotional spikes.
Really?
So that frustrating argument you had before bed.
Yeah.
REM sleep helps take the edge off so you're less likely to snap at your coworker the next morning.
Interesting.
Pretty neat, huh?
That is pretty neat. So those crazy, anxiety-ridden dreams might actually be helping me regulate my emotions in the long run.
It's definitely a possibility. And remember, we're talking about the subconscious mind here. It often communicates in symbols and metaphors, so those dream scenarios might seem bizarre on the surface, but there could be a deeper emotional message hidden beneath.
That makes sense. Our dreams are rarely straightforward, are they?
Right.
It's more like decoding a surrealist painting.
Exactly. And that's what makes them so fascinating to study. There's this whole other world going on inside our heads while we sleep, and we're only just beginning to understand its complexities.
We've got memory sorting and emotional processing,
Right.
any other contenders in the why we dream debate.
There's another theory, a bit more primal, that suggests dreams might be a way for our brains to simulate threats and rehearse responses to danger.
Like a built-in survival mechanism from our caveman days.
Exactly. Think back to our ancestors. They were constantly facing real-life threats. Dreaming of being chased by a predator, for example, might have helped them rehearse escape strategies and prepare for potential danger. Even though our modern-day threats are more metaphorical, like that big presentation at work or an impending deadline, our dreams could still be tapping into that ancient survival instinct.
That's fascinating. So even though we're not running from saber-toothed tigers anymore, our dreams could be helping us navigate the challenges of modern life.
It's definitely a possibility. Our brains haven't changed that much in evolutionary terms.
Yeah.
So those dream scenarios, even the ones that seem completely outlandish, could be our subconscious mind's way of helping us prepare for the unexpected.
All right, so we've got memory, emotions, and survival instincts potentially at play in our dreams.
Right.
Is there a party pooper theory out there, one that says dreams are just meaningless noise?
Of course there is. Some researchers believe that dreams are simply the result of random neural activity in the brain during REM sleep. It's like a computer screen with static, just random bursts of energy with no inherent meaning.
But dreams are so vivid and emotionally charged. It's hard to believe there's no rhyme or reason to them. It feels like there's always something deeper going on, even if I can't quite put my finger on it.
You're not alone. While the random neural activity theory has its proponents, it's not the most widely accepted view.
Yeah.
Most researchers believe that dreams are far too complex and intricate to be simply the result of chance.
So it's likely a combination of factors at play here. Our dreams might be sorting through memories, processing emotions, rehearsing survival strategies, and maybe even just having a little fun with random neural firings.
Exactly. It's probably a bit of everything.
Yeah.
And that's what makes studying dreams so challenging and rewarding.
Right.
There's no one-size-fits-all answer.
Well, I guess that's why we love to dance planet.
Yeah.
But before we go down the rabbit hole of dream interpretation, let's shift gears for a moment and talk about some of the more peculiar side effects of sleep.
Okay.
The things that make you wonder if your brain has temporarily gone rogue.
You mean those moments when sleep gets weird, even a little spooky?
Exactly. Let's talk about things like sleepwalking. Those intense bad dreams we call nightmares. Those times when we're aware we're dreaming lucid dreaming.
Right.
And even that creepy feeling of being awake but unable to move, which I think is called sleep paralysis.
It sounds like we're entering a whole new level of weird. Buckle up, listeners, because things are about to get interesting.
I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
But first, a quick reminder to visit www.dansplain.xyz for more episodes, articles, and partner products that will help you live your best, most well-rested life.
We'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back to Dansplain, where we're exploring the stranger side of sleep.
We were just about to dive into those sleep phenomena that make you wonder, what is my brain doing?
Right, those moments when sleep gets a little weird, even a little spooky. Let's start with sleepwalking. This happens when someone walks or does things while they're asleep, usually during deep sleep.
Hold on, so they're not actually dreaming while they're sleepwalking?
Nope. Sleepwalking usually happens outside of REM sleep, so it's not driven by dreams. It's almost like their body's on autopilot, but their conscious mind is still snoozing.
That's both fascinating and a little creepy. Imagine waking up and realizing you'd reorganized your entire kitchen in your sleep.
It can be unsettling for sure.
Yeah.
And sometimes even dangerous, especially if someone tries to cook or go outside while sleepwalking.
Okay, so sleepwalking is our body running routines without our conscious awareness. What about nightmares? Are those just bad dreams, or is there something more to them?
Nightmares are those intense, disturbing dreams that often wake us up feeling scared or anxious. They happen during REM sleep when our brains are most active, and they can be triggered by stress trauma or even just that extra spicy burrito you had for dinner.
So our brains are basically making mini horror movies for us while we sleep. What's up with that?
It does seem a bit counterintuitive, right?
Yeah.
But some researchers believe nightmares might actually serve a purpose. They could be our brain's way of processing fear and anxiety in a safe environment.
Like a virtual reality simulator for our emotions.
That's a great way to put it. By facing our fears and dreams, we might be better equipped to handle them in real life. It's interesting to note that nightmares are way more common in children.
Maybe because their brains are still learning how to process all those big new emotions.
Exactly. Their brains are still developing those emotional regulation skills.
Hmm.
Now let's shift gears to something a little more mind-bending. Lucid dreaming.
Ah, lucid dreaming. This is where things get really trippy.
Right.
It's basically the ability to become aware that you're dreaming while you're still in the dream ring.
That's it. And some people can even control their dreams once they become lucid. Imagine being able to shape the dream narrative, fly through the air, anything you can imagine.
Wow, that sounds incredible. Like having a superpower. Is it something anyone can do? Or is it only for, like, super-brained people?
It's actually more common than you might think. Research suggests that more than half of all people have had at least one lucid dream.
Wow.
And there's evidence that lucid dreaming might be linked to higher levels of self-awareness.
That ability to think about your own thinking.
So being aware that you're dreaming could actually be a sign of a more developed brain.
It could be. It might indicate a strong connection between different areas of the brain, especially the prefrontal cortex, which handles things like decision-making and self-awareness.
Okay, I'm definitely going to try to have a lucid dream tonight. Are there any tips or tricks for making that happen?
There's no foolproof method, but one common technique is to do reality checks throughout the day.
Yeah.
For example, try looking at your hands several times a day.
Okay.
The idea is that you'll eventually start doing this in your dreams too, and the weirdness of seeing your dream hands might trigger lucidity.
That's so simple, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, one last sleep phenomenon we need to talk about. Sleep paralysis. I have to admit, this one creeps me out.
It definitely has a spooky reputation, often blamed on supernatural stuff.
Right.
But thankfully, there's a totally scientific explanation.
I've heard stories of people waking up and feeling like they can't move or speak, like something's holding them down. It sounds terrifying. It can be a very unsettling experience. Basically, your body is still in that REM paralysis state, even though your mind is waking up.
So my brain is like, wake up,
Yeah,
but my body is still stuck in dreamland.
exactly. You're conscious, but your muscles are still paralyzed, which can lead to feelings of fear and helplessness. Sometimes people even have hallucinations during sleep paralysis, which just makes it even more terrifying.
No wonder people think it's caused by ghosts or demons. It sounds straight out of a horror movie.
It can feel that way for sure.
Yeah,
But it's good to remember that sleep paralysis is more common than you might think.
really.
Around 8% of people experience it at least once in their life.
Okay, so we've covered the weird and sometimes creepy side effects of sleep. Now let's flip the script and talk about the amazing things our brains do while we're catching those Z's.
From memory boosts to creative breakthroughs, the benefits of sleep are truly impressive.
Let's start with memory.
Yeah.
We already touched on how sleep helps consolidate memories, but how exactly does that work?
It's a complex process, but different stages of sleep play different roles. During deep sleep, our brains strengthen the connections between neurons, solidifying what we've learned during the day.
So deep sleep is like hitting the save button on those new memories.
I love that analogy. Then during REM sleep, our brains start connecting those individual memories to broader concepts and ideas. It's like weaving those memories into a tapestry of knowledge.
So we need both deep sleep and REM sleep to really learn and remember new information effectively.
Absolutely. And this is why pulling all-nighters can backfire.
Right.
When we skip sleep, we're robbing our brains of the time they need to process and store information.
Makes sense. Okay, so sleep is crucial for memory. What about creativity? Can a good night's sleep make us more innovative and imaginative?
There's growing evidence that this is the case. During REM sleep, our brains are free to make connections between seemingly unrelated ideas. It's like our inner artist comes out to play and experiment.
You know, I've definitely had those aha moments after a good night's sleep.
Right.
It's like my brain has been working on a problem in the background without me even realizing it.
That's the power of the subconscious mind at work. Sleep gives it the space to make those creative connections.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best ideas come when we least expect them, often after our brains have had a chance to recharge and wander freely during sleep.
So the next time I'm stuck on a creative project, maybe I should just take a nap and let my subconscious do the heavy lifting.
It's worth a shot. You might be surprised at what your brain can cook up while you're snoozing. Now let's talk about the link between sleep and mood. We all know that lack of sleep makes us grumpy and irritable, but what's the science behind that?
Yeah, I'm definitely not my best self when I'm sleep deprived.
It all comes down to brain chemistry. When we don't get enough sleep, especially REM sleep, our brains produce less serotonin and dopamine.
Huh.
Those are the feel-good chemicals that help regulate our mood.
So a sleep-deprived brain is basically a recipe for emotional chaos.
Pretty much. On the other hand, when we get enough sleep, our brains are better at handling those emotional ups and downs.
Yeah.
We become more resilient to stress and less likely to have those sudden mood swings.
So sleep is like a natural mood booster. I'm starting to see why it's considered a superpower.
Exactly. And we can't forget about the physical health benefits.
Right.
During deep sleep, our bodies release growth hormone, which is essential for repairing and regenerating our cells.
So sleep is literally helping us rebuild our bodies from the inside out.
That's right. Deep sleep also plays a huge role in strengthening our immune system. When we're sleep deprived, our bodies produce fewer antibodies, making us more vulnerable to getting sick.
Wow, it's amazing how much sleep impacts our overall well-being. It's clearly not just about feeling rested and alert. It's fundamental to our physical and mental health.
Absolutely. Sleep is an essential biological process that affects every aspect of our lives. And yet, so many of us struggle to make it a priority in our busy, always-on world.
It's true. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and think we can push through on less sleep. But it sounds like we're doing ourselves a huge disservice in the long run.
We are. When we shortchange ourselves on sleep, we're not just losing a few hours of rest. We're compromising our cognitive function, our emotional well-being, and even our long-term health.
It's like trying to run a marathon without training or proper nutrition.
Right.
You might be able to go for a while, but eventually your body will give out.
That's a great analogy. Sleep is the foundation for a healthy, productive, and fulfilling life. We need to start treating it as the essential pillar of health that it is.
I completely agree. So how do we shift our mindset? How do we start prioritizing sleep in a culture that often glorifies busyness and sleep deprivation?
That's the million-dollar question, and it's something we'll be exploring in more detail in our next episode. Stay tuned, listeners.
Welcome back to Dan's Plane. We've been unpacking the wild world of sleep, from the science of sleep stages to the mysteries of dreaming.
And we've explored how sleep affects our memory, our mood, our creativity, even our physical health.
We've covered a lot of ground, but I think the biggest takeaway is that sleep is not a luxury. It's essential.
It really is. And yet so many of us struggle to prioritize sleep in our busy, always-on culture.
Yeah, we're constantly bombarded with messages telling us to hustle harder, sleep less, and achieve more. But it sounds like that's actually counterproductive.
Exactly. We can achieve so much more when we're well-rested. Our brains are sharper, our creativity flows better, and we're better equipped to handle whatever life throws our way.
So how do we change the narrative around sleep? How do we start seeing it as an investment rather than an indulgence?
It starts with recognizing that rest is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of intelligence. It's about giving your brain and body the time they need to recharge and perform at their best.
So it's not about being lazy, it's about being strategic.
Exactly. And it means creating healthy sleep habits, making time for rest just like you would schedule a workout or an important meeting.
What are some practical things we can do to improve our sleep?
Well, one of the most important things is establishing a consistent sleep schedule. Try to go to bed and wake up around the same time each day, even on weekends, to regulate your body's natural sleep-wake cycle.
That makes sense. I know I feel totally out of whack when I sleep in late on weekends and then have to go back to my regular schedule on Monday.
It throws your whole rhythm off. Another key tip is creating a relaxing bedtime routine.
Okay.
It signals to your brain and body that it's time to wind down.
What does a good bedtime routine look like?
It's different for everyone, but some common elements include taking a warm bath, reading a book, listening to calming music, or doing some gentle stretches.
And what about screen time? I've heard that blue light from our phones and laptops can interfere with sleep.
It definitely can. That blue light suppresses melatonin production, which is the hormone that helps regulate your sleep-wake cycle, so it's best to avoid screens for at least an hour before bed.
Easier said than done sometimes, but it's worth making the effort.
Absolutely. And make sure your bedroom is conducive to sleep. It should be dark, quiet, and cool.
I know I sleep so much better when my room is completely dark.
Those little things can make a huge difference. And if you're still struggling to get a good night's rest, consider talking to your doctor. There might be underlying issues that need to be addressed.
Well, I think we've provided our listeners with a lot of food for thought tonight. Sleep is a fascinating and complex topic, and we've only just scratched the surface.
It really is a world of its own. But the key takeaway is this: sleep is not a luxury. It's an essential part of a healthy, happy, and productive life.
Absolutely. It's time to stop glorifying busyness and start prioritizing rest. Our brains, our bodies, and our overall well-being will thank us for it.
So, dance planners, as you drift off to sleep tonight, remember this. Embrace the power of sleep. Give your brain and body the time they need to recharge and rejuvenate. Sweet dreams, everyone.
And as always, thanks for listening to Dance Play.